So to make it easier to do imports and exports from the scene, I've written a little script. So here's the little whisk that's in the scene. So my script, it's going to get all the selected items, store them in this thing called parts. I'm going to create an empty group called export group at world level. Then for each of the parts that's in there, I'm going to duplicate it. I'm then going to parent it to this group. So basically I'm just copying everything that's there already. Then I'm going to select that export group, create the center pivot, so move the center pivot to the origin, move everything to the origin, pop up a file dialog to choose to save. At the moment I'm only doing OBJ, eventually I'll most probably do multiple different file formats. Then I'm using the file export option as OBJ to export that. And then finally clean up by deleting the group. So if I make a copy of that script, I'll put this on GitHub for later. So you can see there I've got the whisk selected. If I fire this up, it gives me the options to do it. I'm just going to go into my folder with the stuff that I've been working on. So in there, and I'm going to call this whisk. And that should have exported that out for me. Let's just get a couple of other bits just to see how well it works. So there's a nice stack of pans up here. So what I can do is I can select some of these. So let's just select the entire stack there. And again, I should be able to just run this through there. I'll call it pan stack. Hopefully that should have exported those. Those might be in multiple groups. It'll be interesting to see what happens. Let's find something else a bit more interesting to export from all of this. There's actually I quite like that stool. That's looking quite interesting there, isn't it? This big stool. Let's see if we can find it. So that's the small stool which we did earlier manually. There's that stool. So let's just see if we can export that as well. So run script again. Call that stool big. Let's just see if it's worked. Hopefully it has. What we should be able to do. Don't save that. Is go into the import now and just go to our folder again. And then go into our test data. So whisk, that's the first one. There's the whisk. You can see it's sort of at the origin. So we've got the angle on it, but that's quite cool. Don't really group those, so maybe we might do a bit more auto grouping on the export. OBJ, supports minimal grouping anyway. That's the problem. That's why we'll most probably look at USD and other formats later. It's data at the moment that we can use to get into our database, which is what we want it all for. So let's have a look at stool big, and again, that is very big. Again, that seems to have exported out. We've got everything nicely there. So let's go and open or import. Just get that pan stack that I did. There's OBJs. Let's just get rid of that one. So go in there. So yeah, there's all the pans as well. So that's quite cool. So the next job is to create a bit more data. I'm going to write another script that will just allow me to store these as either FBX or USD as well. I'll most probably do that as my standalone script just to demonstrate a few other techniques, but I've nearly got enough data to start developing the database, which is the main thing. So a few other bits and pieces that are going to be useful, for example, calculating maybe bounding box sizes, various things like that. We can most probably do a lot of that with the Maya API. I'll have a think about the data that I need first anyway, so that's going to be the next stage of the design. We've definitely got some material that we can start working with now, which is the main sort of criteria for what we've been doing today.